Next question here. I've been selling to manufacturers for the last number of years, and I'm transitioning to a B2B sales company. How would you recommend priming that network or transitioning that network so it doesn't feel like this is out of left field?
Anything's out of left field when you call, unless you've been saying to them, look, I'm looking to make a change, right?
Yeah,
You can't
right.
go, hey, I'm looking to make a change. And then tomorrow I made the change. That's out of left
Yeah.
field. I mean, this groundwork should probably have been laid all along as you've decided to make changes. I love that this person's wanting to take the network they currently have and they're going, okay, they understand that. See, they understand things that most salespeople don't understand, because when they leave one industry or one job and go to another, they like abandon all these connections that they have. I've seen it. How many times we've seen that, John? It's like, well, what'd you
Um,
do before this? Oh, I did this, 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 and this. And it's like, well, where are those connections? Like, I never kept in contact with them, so I don't have them
yeah.
anymore. You
Well,
know?
that's one of the things we talked about is, imagine, just for fun, imagine if you'd kept in contact with everybody you've ever
Right.
met in all of time,
Hmm.
all your personal and business contacts, how easy whatever transition you were making would be. Shifting industry, whatever the case is. People don't. They just don't. But if they did, imagine how easy things could be. If you want to stay in the same industry and shift, you have all that network. You have to be mindful of non-compete agreements and that kind of thing. But I would recommend in all things. I know this is kind of a different point. It is a different point. But to in your CRM, keep in contact with everybody. Drip on them once a month. Is just something. Hey, here's something I saw recently. Yeah, you're not trying to sell them anything. You're just keeping in contact. And how many tens of thousands of contacts would you have in there right now? And
Right.
you could find anything you ever wanted. You could start anything you ever wanted. You could shift. You could, people don't, but man, if they did, they'd make their lives a whole lot easier.
And I think with
Yeah.
something like that, you call your A contacts and go, hey, I'm making a change, because those are the
Yeah.
closer contacts. Then you create a piece that you send out. Hopefully you get on this process of sending something out on some sort of structured, like once a month. That's what we do. And we found that to be really effective. So I would, in that once a month correspondence with all my people, I would be starting to drop like, hey, making a change, I'm really looking forward to still working with you or whatever. These questions can be difficult because you don't know the industry, but I don't think
Yeah.
this probably really matters. But he said he's still selling. I don't know, is the first one not B2B and this one is B2B, but it's the same sales stuff? I don't know.
The manufacturers, but it's not
Yeah.
B2B. That doesn't make any sense.
It
But
does,
but
right.
uh, but anyway, whatever. It doesn't matter. You're
Yeah,
switching. So the question is how to let people know, right? Is the question, right, Ian? How to let
hmm,
people know you're you're
correct.
you're doing something new now, and you're doing something new, probably moving away from. So you're letting people know, your clients, basically. I would imagine your manufacturing clients. Hey, I'm changing. I'm moving to something else. We have, like Chuck had mentioned. I don't know if this question or the last one, but recently we had the business banker we've had for 15 years retire,
Hmm.
and knew everything about us, knows where we live, knows what we like, comes over to the office, and not anymore. He's retired, and hey, and he let us know, hey, in a month from now, I'm gone,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, we
and
knew it was coming.
and yeah, and of course those things, it's a change for us because we used to be able to just, I mean, he knows everything about us. And if there's, it's like, if something like and having somebody like that, a good connection contact where he is somebody who trusts you too. So a business banker who trusts us, like a handful of years ago, FEMA, the disaster people, every 10 years, they draw new flood
Mm-hmm.
plans. And where our office is in Minnesota is right on a pond. And we own our own office space, and or we in the bank own
Yeah,
our own
right.
office space. And we were every 10 years on a commercial deal, ours anyway, and I think this is pretty common. You've got to refinance every 10 years. And so 10 years was up, and this banker I'm referring to called up. He goes, "Hey, we were just trying to re-up you've got to re-up your office loan." And I go, "Oh, okay." And he goes, "But we can't do it." because you're in a flood zone now." No, what?
Mhm.
You know, now we are? I'm looking around going, the pond is, we're still here, the pond's still there. But anyways, we had to petition to FEMA, we had to have an engineer come out, survey, and, all the stuff, and present this to FEMA. Eventually, it was 6 months and a fair amount of money to some newbie down at
Mhm.
FEMA hit the wrong button and colored in our whole areas underwater or something, and we weren't. But anyway, so the point there is here's somebody, a banker who knows you. They go, you know what? Don't worry about it. Well, as long as it takes, don't worry about it. We know you're good for it.
Mhm.
Just pay us, interest only until you get it figured out, and then we'll lock it in and da 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 da. Da. And then that person leaves. Uh, so things like that then sort of go away because you don't know who you're going to get and
Right.
how much experience and how many of those people you're going to go through before they find a good one. But anyway, the point there is letting people know and give them some notice. So
Yeah.
there could be things that I wanted to wrap up with that bank before this guy left, and I don't think there was. Um, but you might have some things you wanna wrap up before the guy leaves. "Oh, hey, can you make sure that in our
Right.
file and where you hand it off, can you please do this? Because here's what we found that goes right or wrong, or before you showed up, this was a mess." Just something. Give them enough advance, and maybe even, "Is there something I can do for you before I leave? How can I set this up right for you before I go so that it works best for you?" Yes, so something like that. And that's cool and considerate rather than just going, "Hey, I've switched jobs." And you go,
Yeah.
"What?" That would
Well,
have
that'll
been
pay
nice.
dividends later when you do that with someone. Hey, let me set this up for you before I leave. Let's
Right,
make sure the handoff is as smooth as, I'm leaving, so I can only make it as smooth as I can make it. And as
right.
long as my client sees that I'm doing that, that leaves a lot of opportunity for me to either A, do business with that client down the road or get
Mhm.
referral business from that client.
Yeah,
So you can't abandon your modus operandi here. I mean, your MO has got to stay consistent, whether I'm
yeah,
leaving, staying, running, whatever it is, just because there's opportunity there. And in the spirit of keeping in contact with everybody you've ever met along the way, you want to make sure it's the right contact and do the right thing by them. So,
yeah,
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 100%.
yeah. Most people don't do that kinda thing. They just surprise everyone. And then they wonder why it's hard you know because maybe that deal doesn't work out, the deal they're going to, and now they've got all these contacts maybe they go back to somebody that they left, go, "Hey, I'm looking, do you have something over there?" And they go, "Screw you, man, you left me hanging. You
Yeah.
think I want to
Oh,
employ you?"
yeah.
Or versus, "Man, you did the right thing.
Mhm.
Love to have somebody like that on our team."